Well guys, I gotta admit, I got some bad news on the first gen, and essentially it's not looking too nice. If you guys don't know, this is equipped with some weird aftermarket splitter transmission that makes it from a 5-speed into a 10-speed. And sadly that company is discontinued. It was bought out by a different company and they sold everything, so there's no parts being made for this. And what kind of really sucks is I'm missing this little control module box that I need to actually get this truck to have all 10 speeds, though it is equipped with the gut rag 360, which is really good, and it turned out is a 4x4, so that's also a really good thing. But let me show you guys real quick what exactly is wrong with the truck and why it might not be running anytime soon. So this is essentially our whole wiring harness for this aftermarket splitter transmission or transfer case, whatever you'd like to call it. Essentially this is the motor that controls the whole entire system. It's just a 2-wire, and then it'll run down into this connector right here. This connector then turns into, I believe, is a 6-wire. These two would go to your toggle switch here, and then these two is your power and ground. Now the issue is this was where your control module would plug up into. Now, sadly, I do not have the control module to operate this system. They no longer make them. Parts are extremely rare. And with this being in a tow rig, it is essentially not good to even kind of try to get a new control module or wire something up. Because if I can't even get as simple as something as that, then if that breaks, the odds of me getting parts for it are slim to none. So what we're going to do is do a 4x4 swap. Now, I will say, we are not doing a complete 4x4 swap, at least not yet. Essentially, all I need is just the transfer case, and well, that's even harder to find than what I thought as well. We're going to have to try to find a 23 spline NP205. Sadly, the 29 splines are ultra rare, but they do make adapters for that, so that is a good thing. I'm hoping that's what's going to fix this. It should be no more than $500, but I think an MT or MP205 29 spline is like 1,000 plus on up, and I think the closest one near me is about a 6-hour drive. So what we're about to do is take off the old unit, this splitter DNE2. I am still going to keep it though for future measures on other builds in case I come along something and I find the module on eBay, Amazon. I have it in a search saved listing, so I should get notifications if something new does happen or pop up. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to rip out that transfer case and then get ready for an MP205 23 spline with the adapter. Honestly, not that hard to take this thing out. I gotta admit, it caught me off guard because it was a little heavy. I was expecting it to be light, but at the same time I was also expecting it to be heavy. What was a little concerning as I was removing this though was all these bolts. I kid you not, I really didn't need the wrench. They were all just like hand tight. So that's really scary, that the fact that I drove it like this the other day with no issues. I mean, like I said, other than the fact that I wasn't shifting into the other 5 gears I needed. But that's still, like, the fact that these were just hand tightened. I mean, they had Loctite on them. You can see, like, I already ripped it off. But it's just crazy that these were just hand tightened and not torqued down. So that was a little scary. I guess next thing we gotta go do is go to the junkyard, go pull a MP205 23 spline, and then purchase the adapter. And hopefully, that'll get this truck running. Well guys, some bad news on the truck. So it's been probably about a good 2-3 days since I've last worked on the truck. And essentially, I found out that it has a 32 spline gut rag 360. Noted though, all gut rags are 29 splines. So we have to go find a GM transfer case. I'm not really sure of the GM. I'm not sure if it'll work. I'm not sure anything at all really. So we're going to the junkyard. We're going to check out for a GM 32 spline transfer case. So hopefully there's one up there. I highly doubt it because a lot of the Chevy parts are already gone. I know Dodge and Ford are still there, but Chevy parts, they're usually gutted, stripped, all the good stuff. So if not, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do because there's none for sale locally. And so yeah, it looks like we're kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut right now. Ooh, let me just say, it's getting hotter. It is really getting hotter in Tennessee. Noted though, I am wearing a long sleeve, so that is kind of my fault. But no luck on an MP205. Literally every single one that was supposed to have it, there's like 3. Even found a transmission sitting out that's like, I think a TH400 or something like that. Nothing at all. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do as far as the truck right now. It's kind of one of those where it's like I'm just gonna have to browse marketplace and fingers crossed find something, or watch the yards and see what comes up, because right now I'm at a total loss. The only thing I could think of is I go for a gut rag 360 2-wheel drive rear end and just call it a day, because it doesn't seem like the 4-wheel drive is going to be an option. I guess we'll see, watch Facebook Marketplace, and hopefully we'll be able to find something here shortly, because I got an event coming up that I'd like to go to with the truck, and it doesn't seem likely at all right now, so that kind of sucks. All right guys, I have officially some really good news. All right, the birds are upset. Anyway, I have some really good news on the transfer case. I was actually able to find one shortly after recording that little segment. I got on Facebook Marketplace, and probably about a week later I was able to find something that just got posted. And it was an MP205 32 spline 6-bolt transfer case. Now it was all the way in Memphis. I had to drive 3 hours early in the morning, like 1 in the morning, got up, drove 3 hours out there, got it at like 4 or 5 o'clock, came back 3 hours right away. And so we basically cleaned it up because it was really dirty. Let me show you guys the transfer case though real quick here. So yeah, this is our new transfer case. Now I'm not 100% sure if it'll work, but it did come with the 4-wheel drive housing here. So we took that off and put it onto the splitter trans, and all the bolts so far line up. And this little lip right here also worked perfectly. So in retrospect, it should work. The only thing I'm worried about right now is this input, or yeah, the input is a little too long, it looks like. So I might have to go to a machine shop and get it like slimmed down a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. I won't know until I officially install it. But other than that, I mean, this transfer case, what's even great about it is not only that's the 32 spline, the 6-bolt, which is apparently really rare on these cars, but it's a passenger side drop. So it's basically a technically stock transfer case for that truck, even though it's not. It's for Chevy, but it should work for my Dodge. And so yeah, I'm really excited to have that transfer case. It did cost me a good penny though. I think it was like $600 for that thing, which is a little pricey, but at the end of the day I was about to spend $2 grand on one completely rebuilt. Now with this one, we are going to reseal this whole entire unit, because it does look like it has a small leak somewhere, and I'm not 100% sure where. But yeah, we're going to go reseal this real quick and then hopefully throw it up into the Dodge, and fingers crossed it'll work. I'm trying to reseal my transfer case, and right now that I've never resealed a transfer case. Let's start this off first. But that can't look right, and neither can that. And it's even worse up and in there, and I'm not sure if you guys can even see it, but I've got it mostly out. But is that really that normal? I'm gonna do some research, but this is awful. Like, it definitely has water in it for sure, which is kind of red flags right now, and I'm glad I took it apart. But that stuff is just so like gross looking, like it's dirt. I'm not even sure what the hell this is. Like, I don't know if this is normal. I'm gonna do some research, but this already is not looking all the best right now. Well, I popped open this cover, and you guys probably won't be able to see it in there very well. But this thing is loaded to the brim, and I mean all the way to the top, and I removed a good chunk of it. But it is absolutely diabolical that somebody did this. So I definitely got scammed on this transfer case. It does suck. It's definitely not supposed to be like that, I can safely say, when I popped open that cover. But look, like, this is all the stuff. Ignore the water, or not water, but the brake clean. I was trying to get it out as best as possible. But like, look at that. That looks like mud, straight up mud. But most of it's grease. The brown stuff, like right in there and in there, is dirt. So this thing needs to be entirely torn apart, which kind of sucks. I got scammed on it. I was told it was a good unit. It's definitely not a good unit, not at all. We're gonna tear this all apart, get it down to just basically the bones or the shell of it, and clean just about every little nook and cranny we possibly can on this unit. And then at least then when I go to install it, I'll know that this is a good unit and has good bones and everything like that, and can kind of be at ease with the unit as well when I do install it, if something else goes wrong later down the road, which more than likely it will. Well, it has been quite a while since we last worked on the first gen. Now, if you guys don't know, we bought an MP205 from Memphis, and well, it's filled with packing grease. And essentially, we were going to rebuild the whole transfer case, and we did rebuild the whole transfer case just to find out it won't work for this truck at all. It should have worked. Now, what we could do here, and we got two options, right? We got the DNE2, which was this 5 to 10 speed conversion system that was thrown in this truck. Noted they don't make parts for that at all. And so with no parts, it's kind of hard to put it up into a tow rig, and in case if something breaks on it, you can't really fix it. Now, here's another option. The transfer case that we just rebuilt, the MP205, well, we could get a shorter drive shaft or main shaft in there. Actually, that would work technically speaking, but I would have to tear it all apart, and right now we kind of need it now. We don't need it later, and so we're still going to keep the transfer case, but we have some other plans with the DNE2. I don't know why a bee just flew into the fucking thing. That was weird. Anyway, let me show you guys what I mean by the DNE2. This is the DNE2. Now the DNE2 essentially, like I said, makes the 5-speed trans into, I think, a 10-speed, or it's like an overdrive unit essentially, in like a Corvette. And they're found a lot of the times in motorhomes and older Corvettes. But essentially, what we were going to do, I started tearing apart all of this. This is driven by electronic. And with it being driven by electronic, it makes it a pain in the butt because we don't have the control module that connects to the motor and tells it what to do. Now, when I did start tearing it apart, there's a little gear right here. And what I could do is make a shaft to make this manual. But again, we're running the risk if something breaks on this, we can't fix it regardless if it's mechanical or electronic. Now, some of this stuff, like the gears and everything, are very familiar, but I can't say I've ever seen like rolling gears like this that are this thin. These do come off, and I've never seen anything like that at all. Now, I'm not sure if you can still get something like that. I highly doubt it. So what we're probably going to do is, and it's a little sketchy, but if we come over to this bin, now I've already cleaned it up and everything like this. This was the bin that would hold all the parts for the MP205 that we rebuilt. We can see these are the main shafts. And essentially, what we're going to do is, this little guy right here controls the gears and everything, kind of like the transfer case would. An MP205 transfer case, if you're familiar with that, controls that. What we're going to do is weld these two shafts, with this guy being our kind of holding somewhat coupler almost. A little dangerous, yes, I understand. But again, if we were to break something on this guy, we run the risk of breaking down for a good while and have no chances of fixing it. And so you're probably wondering, is this long term? No, absolutely not. But we are going to tear the MP205 that I just freshly rebuilt. Everything worked amazingly on it. We're going to tear it all back apart. We're going to go order a short 32 spline instead of the long 32 spline main shaft. So that should fix that problem. But just for the time being, we are just going to weld the DNE2. It is a little sketchy, I do agree, especially behind a Cummins. And, you know, they are kind of like torque horses. So, you know, it is a little sketch. But it's just for the time being until we get the other part and then that transfer case all fixed and ready to go. All right, we just finished the bottom half of this ring right here, so we do got to do the top half where this gear is, right where my finger's at. But we did finish the welding, and I'm not a really good welder, I'll be honest. Honestly, this did not come out bad. I've only welded a handful of times, and I'm still learning as I'm going, but honestly, not terrible. We did have to do 2 layers actually of this. So we had to do one complete turn and then another complete turn. So there's 2 layers of welds on between this guy and this guy. It is very hot. I am not touching this whatsoever. I did just finish this, but we do have to add another bit of welds right here on this gear, and then the clutch fork gear as well. And then this should be done, and then we can put this guy back together. And just like that, guys, we got the top welded on the main shaft. Again, this is not pretty by any means necessary. Again, I've only welded a handful of times. It's not terrible, I won't lie. We'll see if it holds up, though. We're going to let it cool down. I'm not touching that thing and not going to burn my hands. What we're going to do next, though, is remove all of these random gears and stuff and the random forks. We might have to keep this fork in here, at least just the pivot tool. We don't have to keep the actual fork shaft itself, or I should say fork shaft is staying in. The fork is coming out. But other than that, everything else is looking good. We're just gonna have to clean it up, remove all that stuff, put that guy back into here, and then install it in the first gen. All right, guys, we are officially back in the first gen. We're about to go for the second test drive. The second one, yes, the first one was really bad. We had some issues with the DNE2, but I believe we did fix that. Fingers crossed. We're going to take it out to Woodbury first, and if it makes it perfectly fine to Woodbury, we're going to take it to Murfreesboro and meet up with a few friends, hang out with them. Alright, I don't know how well you guys can hear me. It's really, really loud in this cabin because, again, there's really nothing to it. We are in fourth gear, kind of just cruising. It's not doing too bad. First, though, it does not like first. So I think first is gone in the transmission in general, which is fine. We're not going to be keeping the G360 anyway, but it does do perfectly fine in second. We're going to get to the top of this hill and hopefully, oh my days, it is bumpy as hell. Hopefully, we're going to take a look at it and double check everything and then make it to our Woodbury. All right, as far as everything is going, it isn't too bad. First and second, it's a bit iffy. It loves third, fourth, and fifth. No problems, no questions asked. The tires, though, the rears, they're not too bad, but the fronts is where the real issue is. You guys can see, like, look at that. It gets even worse all around. So we're not going to take it out to Woodbury just because of the tires. There was a cheap set for like $600 all around with like 50% tread, so we might just go ahead and go buy those. But other than that, I'm not seeing no leaks or anything like that, so that's always a good sign. We haven't checked the turbo after replacing it, but I don't think it's leaking either. And it looks like that DNE2 back there is also not leaking, so that is a good sign. And before I get any hate comments, I'm getting a filter for the turbo, don't worry. That's really stupid, especially since I just rebuilt it. But it is not leaking, so that's a good sign. That was all from the previous leak there. I'm not seeing any other leaks as far as like oil filter, fuel filter. Everything else is looking pretty good. We did have a pretty bad leak down and in there, but it's not leaking either. Everything's looking pretty set, solid, strong. It's pulling great. Other than that, everything's holding up pretty damn well for the first gen. It does suck because I do want to take it out, but I'd be risking it if I ran on these tires. Well guys, I gotta admit, we took it for its first official test drive. Again, still on the trash tires. We did take it to my job though, that way we can get the tires fixed because, well, I already got new ones for it. But it drove amazingly and honestly handled pretty damn well. But yeah, those tires, they gotta go. We're gonna go change those real quick and then probably go take this thing for a car wash. I don't know why I said car bath, but yeah, other than that, it drove pretty straight. Didn't have any issues with it. It honestly, no overheating. That was one of the biggest issues, was overheating. Still got some interior work to be done. We're not going to talk about that though. Well guys, the first gen Cummins has done its official first time towing anything, and of course, of all things, a Jeep Cherokee. Now I gotta go grab the other one of this. I did buy two of them, but it did not do all that bad. It didn't overheat. It towed perfectly, pulled everything. I really didn't feel no tugging on it. It honestly, when I braked, this whole thing stopped as well and did a really amazing job overall. And so yeah, I'm really happy with how far this truck has come because, again, this truck has been quite a project. Essentially the whole interior being non-existent, electrical issues, so forth and so forth. And to see it actually haul a vehicle is ultimately the goal for this. Again, it's supposed to be a tow rig. That was the whole goal for this truck, and it's accomplished it already. First try, it's done amazing. We're about to try it again. Hopefully I'll show you guys some footage of it and how it tows. Again, it doesn't overheat, which is amazing. We had that issue earlier and all I had to do is just burp the coolant. I felt silly for doing that, but hey, you know what? But yeah, let me show you guys the second vehicle and hopefully get some footage of this thing in work. All right, second Jeep is loaded up. My dad's gonna fall behind me because we don't have lights on this trailer, but again, super nice Jeep, by the way. Let's see what she does this time around. All right, we got the Jeep. How do you feel about the truck?
This truck?
Yeah.
I like the bench seat.
Yeah, you like the bench seat. I guess that's a good thing. All right, about to hit the main roads and hopefully get to something that's not as back roads, because the back roads are really sketchy here in Tennessee. But let's get out there real quick. Well guys, it has been a while since I wouldn't say finished this truck build, but essentially got it back on the road, and it's been absolutely amazing. It got me both this Jeep and another one that's over there with the other ones, but it got me both of those home, and obviously you can see I've used it quite a bit, honestly. Super happy with how far this truck has came, because honestly, it was probably deemed unroadworthy by anybody else, truth be told. The engine needed a bunch of work, everything new. The interior still needs a bunch of work, but we did get some new pieces for that. And we also got a video coming up for the front end. So if you guys want a 91.5 year and newer style front end instead of the 89 or 91 and older front end, I got a video coming up on that for you guys. Trust me, I got some parts for it. But yeah, you guys can see we got a job box on the back of it now, and we've loaded it up quite a few times. It has put in the work, let's put it that way. But yeah guys, we honestly got a lot of new parts here recently. This one guy was parting out a 91.5 year Cummins similar to this one, and again, it had the black interior, so I picked up all the door cards, any pieces that weren't broken. These are really hard to get. Was able to get this as well, which is honestly in not terrible condition. It is still rough, but it's not terrible. Got all this for like 150 bucks, and then plus some like clusters and additional parts that I'm gonna be selling. So if you guys need a cluster, let me know. But we also did pick up, before those parts, we were able to pick up a front end and an OEM grill. Now it is cracked, sadly, here and there, so we're able to pick these up. We also got this bash support here as well for it. We got another OEM grill that we picked up with those interior pieces. And look at this, again, $150, everybody. We picked up this bench seat. Now it is ripped a little bit here, but it's not blown out like it normally is on that side. So 150 bucks. And we got now a black or gray interior. It looks blue on camera, but this is gray. I promise you, it's just really sun beat. But yeah, we picked up that grill, the white support, not the other grill or the core support, and all those interior pieces in there for easily 150 bucks. And this in alone is worth 150 bucks. If you know, you know. But yeah guys, we put in a lot of work into that truck back there, and honestly, to see it be doing what I've essentially attentioned for, or essentially built that whole truck for, to see it on the road and doing exactly what I wanted it to do, is amazing. And I've not had any issues. And we actually went to go look at a car. It was about an hour and a half drive up. We didn't get it, but honestly I'm kind of happy that we didn't get it, because I actually got to test my truck and never had it that far. Drove 3 hours straight, no issues, no hiccups, no problems whatsoever, no overheating, no nothing. So I'm really happy with how far this truck has come. It has been quite a venture for this little guy, and for myself as well, because I've never ever worked on a Cummins. I've worked on many first gens, but not a Cummins. And this is a life goal for mine, is to work on more diesels. And basically, we do have another diesel sitting over here. So what I'm gonna do with that one, I'm not 100% sure yet. But as far as this one goes, this one's nearly done. I got some small bits and bobs here and there for her, but she does what I want it to, and that's all that matters for me. With that guys, I think that's going to end it for today's video. I'm like overall stoked with how far this truck has come, and you guys that have probably been watching, or maybe not even watched, there's a bunch of other videos I've made of this truck, replacing the whole front core support, going through the whole entire engine, the interior, the whole 9 yards of this truck, and pretty much, I want to say restoring it, because it doesn't look all that great from the outside, but the inside is pretty much restored, may I say. But yeah guys, I think that's going to be leaving it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like and do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.